Come along with us as we spend an entire day in Fort Lauderdale for exactly $0. No food, no attractions, no cheating. 8 stops, $0. Let's go. Located on Florida's Atlantic coast, Fort Lauderdale sits about 30 miles north of Miami, 50 miles south of West Palm Beach, and roughly 215 miles southeast of Orlando. Our first stop is Fern Forest Nature Center. As soon as you enter, you'll feel like you've discovered a different world altogether. There's ample parking, signage, and security while you find your way to the opening of the boardwalk. Interpretive signs and lengthy boardwalks through this unique ecosystem guide you to the environmental center. Enjoy the lofty views of the surrounding landscape. Today, part of the facility was decorated for a wedding celebration. So keep that in mind if you ever wish to rent the facility for your own event. The center has drink vending and restrooms. On the first floor, there's an interactive environmental museum that includes live animals and lots of information about the wildlife that lives here in the forest. Before heading out into the ferns, be sure to catch up on the free events they hold here regularly and familiarize yourself with the trail updates that tell of wildlife sightings and trail conditions. This unique area, known as Fern Forest Nature Center for a reason, sits on what's called the Atlantic Coastal Ridge, slightly higher ground that formed thousands of years ago when sea levels were quite different. Now, because it's elevated, it drains better than the surrounding land. And this allows plants like ferns and hardwood trees that would not grow anywhere else in this area to thrive. The dense canopy creates what's called a microclimate. It's cooler, more humid, and shaded. Basically, a completely different environment than the sunny Florida that we're used to. Although it's difficult to take your eyes off the plants, be sure to study the forest floor. It's littered with gray rocks. These are limestone outcrops and are part of the ancient bedrock laid down millions of years ago by corals. It forms an intricate superstructure of porous rock called the Floridan Aquifer. When exposed at the surface, it's known as a karst formation. Our next stop is the Plantation Historical Museum. This small museum is hidden in a neighborhood dominated by tree lined streets, but don't let its location fool you. Here, you'll discover the story of how this entire area went from a swamp to a suburb of Fort Lauderdale. We parked Calypso, the Jeep, in the designated area adjacent to botanical gardens and decided to walk the grounds before entering the museum proper. The paved walk is decorated with unique tree specimens of all types, many of which were in full bloom today. There's a small playground and an exercise course, if you find yourself so inclined. Be on the lookout for various species of birds, including swallowtail kites and white ibis. In the early 1900s, this land was part of a huge drainage project designed to turn the Everglades into farmland. Developers created planned farming communities, what they called plantations, hoping to grow crops like rice and sugar. But the real population boom didn't happen until air conditioning became widespread in the 20th century, making South Florida livable year round. Once we entered the museum, we were pleasantly surprised to find, in addition to their permanent set of displays, a multi use area with rotating displays. At this time, the entire room was dedicated to the pirates that once sailed off of Florida's shores. The permanent displays are dedicated to the indigenous peoples of Florida and some history of firefighting. The museum also hosts a multitude of free events like trivia contests, art classes, and an annual winter wonderland. Come check it out. Moving on to our next stop, we discovered the Secret Woods Nature Center. This place felt like a hidden jungle right in the middle of the city. As such, we came prepared by wearing our anti mosquito clip on dragonflies. These are mangrove forests, one of the most important ecosystems in Florida. The tangled roots trap sediment, reduce erosion, and protect the coastline from storm surge. When hurricanes bear down on the east coast of Florida, seaside residents will be grateful if they left these all too important plants alive and in place to do their job. As one of the most biologically productive systems in the world, these forests act as nurseries for fish, crabs, and countless other marine species. If you enjoy fishing or eating fish, it will be wise to protect this fragile forest. Everything here works quietly in the background to keep Florida from washing away and to keep food on your plate. The free attractions here include a butterfly garden, walking paths and boardwalks, abundant wildlife, and even blue land crab holes galore. Looking for something less natural? Then on any given Saturday, the Fort Lauderdale Fire and Safety Museum might be what you seek. Although, learning about being a safe firefighter now might be a little too late for the peg leg penman. The museum can be found inside one of the city's original fire stations at the entrance to the Sailboat Bend Historic District, and it shows how firefighting equipment and firehouse life has changed over time. You see, early fire departments relied on bucket brigades, literally passing water hand to hand. Over time, that evolved into horse drawn engines and eventually the modern trucks we see today. But the trucks you see here are just museum pieces now, and still kept in working order by a handful of volunteer mechanics, all of whom are retired firefighters. These old engines were just used in the St. Patrick's Day parade. The living quarters here have been restored to near the 1927 original condition. There's a lounge area with a fireplace, a washroom with a shower, sleeping quarters converted into an interpretive display, and look at this decorative foyer. Finally, there's the officer's bedroom. Come visit on a Saturday for something free and unique. Next, we hopped on our bikes and rode the full length of the river walk. This might be one of the most underrated free things to do here in Fort Lauderdale. The Riverwalk follows the New River, which was actually a key reason Fort Lauderdale developed in the first place. You see, back in the early 1900s, this river was used for transportation, trade, and even early tourism. Today, it connects parks, museums, marinas, and entertainment areas. The New River is part of a larger watershed system, meaning everything that drains into it, from the copious amounts of rainfall we get here to the runoff that carries water from the land into the river, eventually flows out to the intracoastal waterways estuary and then ultimately to the Atlantic Ocean. This is one of those places where you can just walk or ride, stop, explore, and never feel like you need to spend money to enjoy the day. And from here, we found a way to take things to the water without spending a dime. All aboard! Tired of the land and want to explore the new river from the water for free? That's right, a completely free boat ride. Fort Lauderdale has over 165 miles of inland waterways, more than Venice, Italy itself, which is why it's called the Venice of America. On the Lauder Go trolley, you spend $0 and you can cruise past $1 million condos and yachts. We've come to stop 6, so welcome to Los Olas Boulevard, the heart and soul of Fort Lauderdale. As we make our way down this iconic street, we're traveling from west to east along a roadway whose story stretches back more than a century. The name Las Olas is Spanish for the waves, a fitting title for a boulevard that ultimately connects downtown Fort Lauderdale to the Atlantic Ocean. Today, it is one of South Florida's most recognizable destinations, but in 1917, this was little more than a dirt road crossing swampy wetlands on its way to the beach. In the 1920s, developers transformed the surrounding landscape by dredging canals and creating the famous Las Olas Isles. Inspired in part by Venice, Italy, these finger islands turned marshland into prime waterfront real estate and helped establish Fort Lauderdale's reputation as the Venice of America. As Fort Lauderdale grew after World War II, Las Olas evolved from a simple transportation route into a thriving commercial district. Restaurants, boutiques, galleries, and specialty shops began lining the boulevard, creating the vibrant atmosphere visitors enjoy today. Major revitalization efforts during the 1970s and 1980s helped preserve the area's charm while encouraging new investment and growth. One of the boulevard's most historic landmarks is the Riverside Hotel, which has welcomed guests since 1936. Nearby stands the historic Stranahan House, the oldest surviving structure in Fort Lauderdale and a reminder of the city's pioneer days along the New River. Today, Las Olas Boulevard serves as Fort Lauderdale's cultural and social center. Art galleries, sidewalk cafes, upscale dining, and local businesses attract residents and visitors alike. The boulevard hosts festivals, holiday celebrations, art walks, and community events throughout the year, while ongoing city improvements aim to make the corridor safer, more walkable, and more enjoyable for everyone. Whether you're here to shop, dine, admire the architecture, or simply enjoy the tropical atmosphere, Las Olas Boulevard offers a perfect glimpse into Fort Lauderdale's past, present, and future, a place where history, culture, and coastal living come together beneath the shade of swaying palms. Our seventh stop is what Fort Lauderdale is famous for its beach. Stretching along Florida's sparkling Atlantic coast, the beach here is one of South Florida's most beloved seaside destinations. Once a quiet shoreline dotted with fishing camps and old highway motels, the beach gained national fame during the spring break boom of the 1960s and 70s, becoming a symbol of Florida's carefree coastal lifestyle. Today, Fort Lauderdale Beach has transformed into a vibrant oceanfront paradise, featuring nearly 7 miles of golden sand, a scenic palm-lined promenade, crystal blue waters, and world-class dining just steps from the shore. Whether you're looking to relax beneath the Florida sun, explore the city's famous waterways, enjoy water sports, or experience the energy of nearby Las Olas Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale Beach offers the perfect blend of tropical beauty, history, and modern coastal charm. So grab your sunglasses and join us as we discover one of Florida's most iconic beaches. Finally, if you travel just a bit south, you'll find the Hollywood Beach to Dania Beach boardwalk. This stretch of coastline might be one of the best free experiences in South Florida. The boardwalk was designed to blend beachfront access with community spaces, including restaurants, music, and recreation all in one place. Coastal cities carefully manage areas like this to balance tourism with protecting dunes and wildlife habitats. This is one of those moments where it feels like you should be paying for it, but you're not. Success! We spent an entire day in Fort Lauderdale for $0. We even brought our own picnic lunch and ate it overlooking this mega yacht, complete with its own helicopter. This proves you don't need a big budget to have a truly unforgettable day. Be sure to follow our channel for more $0 day challenges and family friendly budget adventure videos, all from the Peg Leg Penman. Thanks for watching.